Hey guys, so here is what you need to complete this project. You're gonna need a piece of paper. I would go with just regular size paper. You're gonna need your hand to trace, a pencil, a ruler, or any sort of straight edge would work just fine, and then some sort of colors. I like using markers for this. Crayons could also work really well. Honestly, any sort of color supplies you happen to have around. Alright, so first thing you want to do is you want to take your non-dominant hand. So I'm a righty, so my left is my non-dominant. And I want to put my hand on the page and spread it out kind of wide. I want to kind of center my hand, and then I have my arm coming off. I'm going to use my pencil and I'm going to trace around the entire thing. Now, a great trick for tracing is don't let your pencil go at an angle. Instead, you want to make sure that it always stays straight up and down. That will help get you a nice trace going all the way around. So take a minute, trace around your entire hand. Now you want to trace fairly lightly. You don't want a really dark line. You want a very light line. So don't press hard. Just take your time all the way around your hand and then down off the bottom of the page, off your arm, so you get the entire hand left behind. Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to go straight into my markers. I'm not going to use my pencil anymore. When we're all done, we're actually going to erase this line that we just made. So you can decide and do a pattern with your colors. You could do just a couple colors. You could do all the colors. It is totally your choice with this. But what you want to do is I actually like to start a little bit up from the bottom. You could start at the very bottom. I like to start up a little bit. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to have it go across the page. I'm going to eyeball it to make sure it's fairly straight. It is okay if this part is not exact. Now I'm going to draw a line from the edge of the paper to the edge of my arm, skip over my arm, and then back across. So you see how it does not go on the arm itself. Now, what I'm going to do is anytime the line goes over the arm, you are going to make it bump up and come back down, like so. Now, if you continue this process all the way up your hand, filling the entire page, it's going to give that illusion of your hand being there when it's really not. So my next line, I'm going to leave a little bit of space. Now you get to choose how much space you want to do, but the closer you put these lines together, I think the better your finished product turns out. So again, I'm going to go straight across till I get to my hand, stop, other side of the hand, and across. Remove my ruler, and then following the last curve, I'll draw another curve connecting the two lines. Now you just keep going over and over and over until your entire piece is done. So if you wanted, you could do all of your straight lines first, then come back and do the bumps over your hand. It is up to you. Do whatever works best for you. Now I am going to give you some tips here when we get up to the fingers, because as you get into this area, it gets a little bit more complicated. So I'm going to quickly get this part of the hand done. I'll come back to you when we get into the fingers up here. Alright, so as you can see, I finished filling in the ones below. I got up to the thumb, and then I did the background lines for the entire image, but I did not draw on the fingers yet, because I wanted to show you that step. I honestly really like to do all my background straight lines first. I think it makes it easier. Now, as you saw, I'm pretty good with drawing straight lines freehand, but I really recommend using a ruler or a straight edge of some sort. It's going to make your stuff look better. Alright, so let's come into down here. I'm on to pink now. Now my pink lines go from here to over here, but you notice I'm going to have that separation of my thumb to my hand now. So I need to do this line a little bit different. It's not going to be one smooth line and just skip over that section. The whole idea is we're trying to make it look like the lines are literally moving up and over the hand before they continue on. So from here to over here, I want to have one bump, and then I'll have a separate, different bump over here connecting into this line. Now I have my red line starting here. Red's going to come after the pink. Now I can make them come into almost the same spot, and that's going to be okay. So if I go from this edge line here, I'm going to have it bump over the thumb and come to the bottom and kind of disappear. And then from that same spot here, I'm going to continue my bump over this side to connect there. So you see how we're starting kind of two separate bumps now. I wish I would have thought about that a little bit for this purple line and extended this up a little higher, but you know, it is what it is. So as we go onto this red line, I can continue the thumb just like normal, doing the bump, connecting line to line. Now I can go from kind of over here, bump it, and down. So this part right in here is going to give you a little bit of trouble at first, but it's going to make sense once they're all drawn out. So I just keep working my way up the hand and up the thumb. Okay, now for this tip of the thumb here, we see I could pretty much connect to this green line straight, but there's a little bit of that bump left of the thumb, so I'm just going to go along the edge, that outer edge of the thumb to connect the two. Give us our last bump there, and then over here. All right, so now as we go into each individual finger, it's going to kind of do the same thing that the thumb did. So some parts we might be able to connect, like these fingers, there's a little bit of space below them, but the pinky finger, there's no space left. So I'm going to start some little bumps here going into the fingers like I wish I would have done for my purple. So I'm going to have a little bit of a bump for blue, bump, bump, disappear, and then out from the edge, bump, connect. So you see how I'm starting to get those finger bumps started, even though they're all connected except for that part. Now it's going to help as I continue up. So I'll have a bump for that, and it's going to disappear. Bump, disappear, bump, disappear. Then this one will actually see. So you just keep working your way up each finger. Make sure you follow those colors, even if you can't see them all the way yet. They do still need to be included. So having a pattern to your colors does make life a little bit easier, because I know which ones are coming next. The fingers are definitely the hardest part of this. Now I can actually connect the colors to the lines around them with each individual finger. All right, so my finishing lines here for each finger, making sure they're connected, going across, make sure you have that bump. Without the bump, the illusion's lost a little bit. Just finish up these last few colors. And blue is my last one. There we go. So once you have done your entire thing, you are going to want to erase your original pencil outline. So that way we get that true illusion of the lines curving over the hand. You do want to make sure that your material is dry first. If you use marker, you don't want to smudge an eraser on top because that's just going to smear the colors. If you use crayons or something else, it might work out a little bit faster. All right, so I have a kneadable eraser here. We're just going to go through and erase any of those original pencil lines. This is the last step to this project. Oops, see my colors aren't quite dry up here, but I'm trying to finish it up. Yeah, my colors aren't quite dry on top, so I'm going to need to wait a few minutes for that to dry a bit more before I finish tracing. But you can see how this illusion of the hand is created. The more lines you do, the better the illusion looks. Make sure you connect your lines to the straight edges, and make sure you have a nice big bump. The bigger the bump, the more the illusion is. And then make sure you split them up going over the thumbs. Can't wait to see what your hands look like. You can do this same technique with other objects as well. It doesn't have to be a hand. You could trace any sort of shape and create this illusion of it being there by the lines bumping and curving over it. Can't wait to see what you do, guys.